Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Hops Geek News, a podcast that talks about comic books, movies, TV shows, and of course, we feature a beer of the week typically. However, this week, of course, no beer for us. We are both kind of struggle bussing this week, but that doesn't mean we don't have an amazing guest for a special creator interview. We have Corissa from Worthy Comics here to talk about her comic book, Redemption, coming out here soon, and how Supernatural has been an inspiration to that. If you know the show, we are big Supernatural fans. Lauren, more so than me. I am working my way through. I am currently halfway through season 9, so I am getting there slowly but surely, folks.
You hit 9? Did I know this?
Dude, yes, I told you I'm halfway through 9.
Wow, you flew through 8.
I told you, I mean
Proud of you,
business,
Matt. I'm proud of
family
you.
business to be exact. But if you are looking for all of us, you stumbled upon us, Hops Geek News, any podcasting platform, any social media platform, that's where you can find us. And then if you feel so inclined to help the show out, patreon.com/hopsgeeknews. We do lots of cool things. And big announcement, you will see us at MegaCon 2024. We will have probably 2 Supernatural panels, believe it or not, at MegaCon. So if you're in the Orlando area, February 1st through 4th, stay tuned to our social media where you can come and Lauren's got cool things like she's gonna be giving out maybe mini pies. Who knows?
Oh,
We'll
we're gonna
find
have
out.
trivia. We're gonna have supernatural stickers. I think I gotta pick up the mini pies from Target. They're surprisingly delicious.
Yeah. So we're
But
gonna
and of
have it
course I'll
all.
have candy. I had candy for last year's trivia, and when the guy's searching my bag, I'm like, I'm hosting a panel, and he's like, "Can I have some of this candy?" I'm like, "Yeah, you
Yes,
can have
you
this
can,
candy."
sir. But yeah, we'll have all sorts of cool stuff. So make sure you come and find us. We will be there. And like I said, we have a cool guest. So without further ado, Carissa, welcome to the show. Let's start off with introducing yourself and what got you into creating all these cool fictional stories that man, people just can't seem to get enough of.
So I'm Corissa Grant. I started Worthy Chaos Comics. And it was not intentional at all. Um, I started writing through role play about 17 years ago, and I had this idea for an angelic weapon when I saw the angelic weapons on Supernatural. There is an angel called Ramel, which he is the one that judges the souls on earth and brings them to heaven in scripture. And me being the idiot that I am, I was like, well, how is he carrying these? I was like, just put him in his pocket. So I created this angelic weapon, and that's all I held on to for 11 years until I decided to start writing the story. Um, and the way this started was I created the story, and then I found myself a role player online. And for those that don't know role playing, it's not like D&D. It's you write a chapter and somebody writes the same chapter in the different point of view of a character. So when you're reading our story, what you're going to read is I write the story and I write everything Serafina and the other characters. However, our main character, our second main character, Draven, who's a demon descendant, his speech and thoughts are written all by my. So when you're reading the story, the two characters have completely different personalities. So you get to experience how they think differently and talk differently and everything. My character is way more like me, talks nonstop and barely thinks. And then my co-writer writes, Draven mostly thinks and barely talks. So you get to, we do have thought balloons, that's there, you get into the character's head. The thing about this story is we didn't mean to make it a comic book. We went ballistic writing it. We got so obsessed with it. And in 3 years, we had about, at that point, at the end of the 3 years, we had like 50 issues already written.
Wow.
Now we have about 100 issues written, and we're still writing. So they're broken up into series. So series 1, which is the one that's on Kickstarter now, we're on issue 8. We started about a year ago. We release every other month, and it's 45 issues for series 1. So if we wanted to end it on series 1, we could. There'll be a warning: do not read the epilogue if you want a happy ending, and you'll be all set. However, if you read the epilogue, like most Supernatural, there's always something that's going to be destroyed. And then it leads into series 2, which is another 45 issues already written. So series 1's done, series 2's done, and I'm book 1 into series 3. So, and there's a prequel. Um, and the story pretty much follows Angel Descendant, Serafina, and Demon Descendant, Draven. And the two are soulmates that live through each life together, and they don't never have memories of it in the new life. In the last life, they got tricked by their guardian angel, which causes huge, massive destruction. And now in this life, the weapon that used to, a soul weapon that used to be inside her is now out. And their fathers are after this weapon because if they can get this weapon, they can tip the scales of heaven and hell in their favor. The only problem is that Seraphina's soul is needed to activate it. Now, if they use her soul to activate it, there will be no reincarnating, no heaven, no hell, and they will be separated forever. And when that happened, if they ever get separated, then Draven goes completely dark and can pretty much destroy most of the cities that he goes near. Obviously, they don't want this to happen, so they're going through like a Silent Hill kind of town that's merged with hell. So they're going against hellhounds and Anubis and zombies and ghosts and everything you could possibly think of. Vampires, our version of vampires. So it's deep down, it's a love story, but it's not mushy. It's pretty much them just trying to stay alive. And a lot of it is very, very supernatural inspired because I love supernatural. I've been through all the series. I read all the books except for like maybe the last three. I've been to the conventions. I hung out with all of them. I have their autographs. I have their photographs. So yeah, it's a big. So if you love supernatural, you're gonna love this. She's a supernatural hunter. He is not. And when the story starts out, they get separated in the very beginning for 10 years. Her demon brother killed her family. She walked in on it and he attacked her. She jumped out the back window to escape and to try to get to Draven, who she called and told him not to come to the house. And of course, the first thing he did was come to the house. So she went out the back window. He came in the front door. He slipped on her blood, called her name. She turned around and got hit by a car, and he gets arrested for her murder. So for 10 years, they both thought the other one was dead. So this story starts with them meeting up in the 10 years. And he thinks it's a dream, and she thinks he's a trick. So that's pretty much how it starts. Which pissed off my letterer because he's like, shouldn't they like kiss and be happy to see each other? I was like, no. And it was like, not only do they think it's not real, 2 seconds later they're attacked by an entire town of ghosts. So no. But she uses all the rules of supernatural. Let's go behind the iron fence, and they make a joke about it where he says, "Why don't they just go over it?" And she's like, "Don't tell him, they'll do it." And he's like, "Really?" She's like, "No, they can't cross iron."
Don't give him the idea.
Yeah, that's what she said. Don't give him any ideas. And she's like, and he's like, "Really?" She's like, "No, not really. I don't make the rules. I just, use them." And he goes, "Well, ghosts don't exist." And she's like, "Go ahead and stick your hand through the fence." And he's like, "Nope, you're not going to do that." So there is some humor. They can be sarcastic at times, and but yeah, that's now they're in this issue that just launched now is issue 8, which is the beginning of book 2. Really, they're all continual, but they're kind of in different environments. So in the last one, they were Silent Hill, and at the end of that, it leads into this one where now they're trapped in a haunted asylum that's taken over by ghosts and mental patient zombies and giant salamanders, and they can't get out until they figure out or try to get out. So now that's where we begin on issue 8 is them trapped in this asylum.
So of all the stories you guys have written, how many of them are out and available right now?
So right now you can get 1 through 8 on our Kickstarter. All you have to do is search Worthy Chaos. It's the easiest way to find us, and we're the only thing that pops up. You can get all the back issues. You can get our hardcover that we have. We have the hardcover is issues 1 through 7, so you could pick that up for $40 and then get issue 8. Or if you want the singles, there's a catch-up tier of all 8 of them, and that's $80. We do have one only digital now because I haven't printed them, but in the add-ons, I think it's like $2-3 or something like that. You can get a prequel of issue 1 of the issue 1 prequel. And you could see how they met and how they didn't go well right away. The first 2 seconds, they did not get along. But you can also get a hint at the spinoff that we have, and that's in issue 1 there too. So you can get that digitally in there. So technically, right now we have 10 issues you can get of our characters.
Okay. And I know you said you have about 100 like issues at this point. So are the previous issues, are they available elsewhere then, or is it just once they're kind of through Kickstarter, that's kind of how it is? Or we do have a website that you can get the digital versions or the hardcover. It's just
we release them every other month, and I'm way too lazy to update every single month with everything.
It can be a lot, yeah, especially if you're releasing every other month. You're putting a
Yeah,
lot
yeah.
of work
Well,
into.
we're also very far ahead when we make them. When the Kickstarter ends, you get your book right away.
That's nice.
8 through 10
That's
has
when
already been
Kickstarter
sent to
did. I
the
waited a
printer.
while.
So yeah, they're shipped out a day or two after the Kickstarter ends. We finished 8 through 10. We sent already to the printer. Issue 11 is just getting lettered. It's halfway down through being lettered, and issue 12 is 19 pages in being scripted. So we have pretty much all of book 2 almost done.
Nice.
And you
So
have a spinoff as well. So you're creating a whole universe.
yeah, yeah. Well, it's always our characters. The only time that my main 2 characters might not be in it is there's going to be an Anubis spinoff, because everyone wants to see what happened to Anubis and why he's there and whatever. So there's that. But there will also be a mini series of my characters searching for gems that help control the weapon. And that they're going to jump into other indie books, like kind of like Kingdom Hearts. If you know Kingdom Hearts, they kind of jump into
Yes.
different worlds.
I think my daughter read those. Yeah.
I played the game.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, it's
So,
a game. Why did I think they were books?
there's probably graphic novels too, and there might be other books for it because I do have graphic
I'm thinking
novels.
of Kingdom Keepers. I don't know. My
Yeah,
daughter's read a lot of random things.
I don't know that one, but yeah. Yeah.
So where did you come up with the name then, Worthy Chaos? Like, how did that come up about?
The name was somewhat hard to come up with because I didn't need a name until the book was going to be made. So I was trying to think of what to name it, and what happened was throughout the entire series, because of Seraphina's blood is angelic, it attracts everything to it. So she
Oh, so they can
causes
censor.
Yeah, so she causes a tremendous amount of trouble for Draven, and she always feels guilty about it. And Draven always says, "You're worth it." So Seraphina is the worthy chaos. She causes all the chaos, and she's worth it for him.
Ah.
So she's the worthy chaos. Yeah.
I like that. That's pretty clever. And it seems like, yeah, do you have to put like a lot of different research into each things as far because there's a lot of different playing fields here, like hellhounds, zombies, vampires. How
Yeah,
much research goes into that portion for you?
a lot. So all of our angels and demons are accurate to scripture. Most of the monsters are also accurate to scripture, except for we created our own vampires. I didn't mean to, but I love scientific stuff, which is weird because I love supernatural stuff. So, but there's one thing about vampires that always bothered me is that they always bled and their hearts don't beat. So they should not be, let alone the fact that they're all having sex, they shouldn't be, but whatever. But their heart always beats, they're not supposed to have blood flow. So instead, I invented the clotters. And the thing that the clotters are, they're actually a mutation of the regular vampires that you see. However, because one had this off gene, their heart beat every 6 hours, which is just enough to keep off rigor mortis. So their blood's very thick. It makes them a lot stronger. However, it also requires that they need more protein. So they can't feed from a bag and they can't feed from animals. It has to be a live human or they start to deteriorate like zombies. Now, the problem with this is they do have their souls. So when you turn one, if they don't want to hurt another human, they're just going to let themselves deteriorate. So it kind of, to fix the species and make sure it lasts, he would only turn the most ruthless humans that he could find, like murderers and sociopath and all those people. So they became some of the most violent vampires you can possibly get. So they're stronger, faster, and just want to destroy you. And there's one trait that absolutely ruins them. If they taste your blood, they can track you anywhere. Ooh. So anywhere you go, you can't hide from them. And if you kill that one, the entire nest can then track you as well. And they can go out in the sunlight. They do not sparkle, but they can go out into it. They don't like to, but when they're seeking revenge, they'll do anything. So they will go out during the daytime. Yeah, you're screwed. They're just going to track you down until they kill you. So
that's really clever. I've honestly never seen a vampire told in that manner, and I think that makes them even more terrifying in an aspect.
They're terrifying. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. Honestly, I really love that idea. It's pretty freaking good.
I didn't know the original lore was that they didn't have beating hearts. I thought they were just missing something in their blood. That was why they needed to,
well, originally, there was 2 things that created the vampire lore. One is if they go out in the sun, they're missing a specific their skin is missing a specific gene, so they will start to burn in the sun. But their heart does beat in the original, but they have to feed on blood to give them their strength and keep going, and they can die without the exact blood. They also because of their heart beating, it doesn't really, you can stake them, but generally, unless it's like right before that 6 hour, you're not going to do anything and they're going to live. So the best way to kill them is to fire or cutting off their heads, because fire takes too long. Originally, vampires could go out in the sun. The original vampires could. Movies changed that and made them only daytime, only nighttime. And originally the staking wasn't to kill them, it was to trap them to their coffin so they couldn't get up. I always make,
like
not
a
only
revenant.
Not only did I look up all the facts and everything, whenever there's something she does, I have to make sure that it's physically possible. Like, she was trying to blow up a giant rat in book 3, and I wanted her to shoot a propane tank, because in every movie when you shoot a propane tank it blows up. However,
Yes.
that is not, you can't blow them up that way. You need a spark. So she actually shoots this propane tank, the air comes out, and they throw a book of matches onto it to light it. But I have to make sure that these things actually will happen. Does punching a shark really work? And yes, you can, but it is not as effective as pulling the punching the gills or poking the eye, whatever. So I try to do as much research. I watch a lot of those. I don't know if you ever watch pitch meetings or Cinema Sins, but they talk about all the plot holes. So I try to think in that manner of, well, this is a plot hole,
the plot holes.
Whatever. Yeah. Yeah. So I try to fix all those.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing too that, because obviously that's something in Supernatural we see, like, okay, this is what it was back then, and like Castiel was incredibly strong and Dean punched him and hurt his hand, and then in later seasons that's not the case. So are you making sure that your characters are consistent in that regard as well?
Yeah, I pretty much make sure that they stick to the rules. Like, one of the worst rules I made myself, I'm so mad about. So we have kind of a Castiel character. We have Camiel, and Camiel is actually in scripture the archangel of true love. So he was assigned as their guardian angel, and the prophecy was that if an angel and a demon ever fell in love, that you could not separate them, or the war between heaven and hell would start. Her father faked the prophecy to trick the guardian to destroy them. So he said, if an angel and a demon ever fell in love, then they have to be separated, or there'll be a war. The thing about Camiel, he wears a stupid top hat, which has a reason, by the way. So the exclusive was that Camiel wears this stupid top hat. And nobody knows why he wears this hat. It looks stupid and all that stuff. However, Remnel's power is lightning. So the top hat actually has something that stops lightning from going through him. So he feels safer with it. And it's supposed to be a hint to later on that he is scared of Remnel. And he does hint to Remnel too. And he goes, don't you think it's odd that after I separated them, the war started and the prophecy said opposite? And he's like, nope, do your job. So you kind of get the sense of what's going on. And with Remnel, he actually wants the weapon for a whole other reason, but he's using the war as an excuse to use heaven's resources. But the thing about Camiel that I was going to say to keep consistent and drives me crazy, especially as a dyslexic, he doesn't say contractions. So he doesn't say can't or don't or haven't. He has to say cannot, do not, have not, I am. It drives me freaking crazy, and I made the rule. But I have to go back and make sure that not only did I write it correctly, that the letterer will make sure to write it correctly. And another thing that's annoying to do is the letterer has to remember to the higher up demons have colored coats, colored balloons. So every higher up demon is red, and every higher up angel is yellow.
Who's who?
Yeah. So my brother thought it was a great idea, and he was like, "You're gonna be annoyed trying to remember all that, or won't it give it away?" And I was like, "Well, that's kind of the hint to it, like we'll hint to things." We know things that Seraphina and Raven don't know. Like, they don't even know their fathers exist. They don't even know that they're not human. But we do
Oh.
because we're watching it, the angel and demon kind of pull the strings behind the scenes on what they're doing to my poor characters, who we torture nonstop. Kind of like what Chuck used to do. I used to say I'm just a prophet. I'm like Chuck that just used to write. I'm just the right, I write what's supposed to happen. But yeah, so we make sure that they're per se similar, that the hardest part is any injuries that they have. We have to keep track of them, and which my artist has the worst memory in the world. So I'm like, oh, I literally changed her outfit. So in the middle of this book 2, she gets an injury in her arm. And he kept forgetting to put the injury. So I'm like, I just need to have her change. I can't do this for the rest of the book to remember to go back. So I was thinking they were in the medical room and he's wrapping her up. And I was like, oh, what would she change into? Like, what color shirt should I put it into? And I was like, it can't be the same. They're not going to magically have her shirt. So since they were in a mental institution, she is now wearing a nurse outfit, which everyone loves, of course. But everyone's like, oh, was that intentional? I was like, nope, I just needed her out of the outfit without any injury. So yeah, consistency is key, and we have to constantly go back and be like, oh, you're missing the dagger on the right side, and she's wearing this, and our vampire chameleon bats, you're missing the fangs, or whatever. So yeah, so we try to stick to our own rules. Like the Clotters had their own rules, and I had to double check it because when I was reading over, she was like demanding to know where Serafina was, and I was like, wait, she can track her. So then we made it where they couldn't track them for the first like several hours, that had to wait until like whatever. So I had to make sure all the rules are followed.
So how often the Kickstarters are every other month they go off, or you put out comics every other month. So how long do your Kickstarters go normally?
I'm hoping shorter and shorter. But right now it's about 3 weeks. This time we funded in 2 hours
Oh,
and
wow.
doubled. Yeah, and we doubled our funding in 12 hours. But now it's like we're on day 3, and it's going to go slower. So it's like the most, gut wrenching for that. That's why my goal in life is to have a Kickstarter that's only 1 week long, because people only like pledge like the first 2 days and the last 2 days. So I figure if it's freaking a week, that's enough. So in a couple of years, that's my goal, is to have 1 week, and have them more often. I can have one monthly, but you still have those 3 weeks to save up your money for the next one. Because we could release the monthly. I just don't think my fan base can afford it right now, because I have a lot of merch. I've been called Merch Queen. And so they all want to buy everything, and I love them for it, but I know they can't afford it. Like I could barely afford my own stuff. So
I mean, yeah,
hey,
no, nobody can
merch is
afford
a good
anything
thing.
these
It's always
days.
fun. I'm one of those people, like I'm always buying
oh,
new
we are
merch, things like
crazy
that.
merch. I mean, this is our Hellhound,
That's really cool.
we have our giant salamander for this issue. And everyone's favorite is our zombie plushy mental
That's
patient who's in
amazing.
a
Oh, he's
straitjacket, which
adorable.
That's
which
adorable.
works. His jacket actually works. But the funny thing is that you could put anyone's birthday or date on the back. So if you have a crazy friend, you could put their name on it. My birthday's on it because I'm the crazy one. But you can get whatever you want on there. My mom bought one. She doesn't read horror and she doesn't read my comic, but she just thought he was cute. So now
Just
she
being
owns,
supportive, yeah.
yeah, she just owns one of them. My most popular besides that one is our Anubis,
Oh,
who
nice.
it turned out way better. These are actually pre-ordered, and the only reason why I never do pre-order, because I don't like to do things until I have them in hand or they're whatever. But he's ordered, and I had to buy 100 of them. People kept asking me for him, so he's actually a pre-order on this one too. People can pick him up, and I've already sold a bunch in the first day, so it worked really well.
That's
That's
awesome.
awesome.
No, yeah,
Do
like
you,
that's really cool it's a good way to promote too. Like really cool merch draws people to what you're doing, and then it just kind of goes from there. It's
well,
Yeah.
if
always
you're at a
amazing.
con, you have more than books to sell
Yeah.
too.
Yeah, I'm gonna bring them to the I'm gonna bring at least the new. I can't bring all of them. I have I have our vampire chameleon bats, which are horrifying vampire bats, but they can merge into the background. So now you have the horror of a vampire bat that can blend in.
Oh, yeah.
And then we have like the skeleton birds, which is from like issue 3, but they keep selling out, so I keep buying them.
Well, yeah, of
So
course.
yeah, of course.
Got to meet the demand.
Right? So we have those. We have 3D figures. We have buttons and all handmade statues, and we have a bunch of stuff. And everyone always used to make fun of me, and they're like, "Oh, how come you buy so much merch?" And I was like, "Well, I wanted it, and now it's tax deductible selling it to you." So
There you go.
so that's why. So that's why. So everything I have one of everything I sell. So
That's awesome.
I love it.
So I thought that was really interesting what you said, because when we went back and forth in the email too, you mentioned good omens, and so that's a real prophecy that if an angel and a demon fall in love, that the apocalypse will start if they're separated.
I've actually never seen Good Omens, but my characters are so much like them that I actually started watching it now. But yeah, the real prophecy from once Seraphina was born, she was actually created from the weapon because angels can't have children. And in scripture, and I gotta be honest with you, I didn't know this yet. It's just an amazingly awesome coincidence. So he falls in love with the Celtic goddess and he creates Seraphina using the souls and the powers of the human soul and his powers and the Celtic powers. But the funny thing in scripture is Remnal is actually the first one to create the Nephilim, which is an angel, part human.
Ah.
Obviously, she's a little bit more attractive than the original Nephilim, which is a giant, creature. But so in this one, he used the weapon to create it, to create her. And in so doing, Draven's father created Draven to kind of trick her into giving it to him, but he fell in love with her because they're soulmates and they actually share a soul. So now the problem is, the prophecy, like it was stated, if they're ever fall in love, they just cannot be separated. And once they are, the war would start. And the reason why is since they share a soul, she's the only thing that keeps Draven from going completely dark and being like the destroyer of the world, pretty much.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and in the prequel that actually happens when she's taken away, they have her soul, they tricked her and kept her soul somewhere. So Draven actually went dark. Other angels came down and just had to destroy him because he was destroying cities. He got sent to hell and was trapped there with no memory of her. But then the weapon couldn't be activated without them together, so they sent them both to Earth to start over again, and that's what the life is they are in now. So
Gotcha. Well, you'll
Nice.
definitely love good
Yeah.
omens once you get through all of it. I can
I
tell
heard
you
it's
that.
awesome. It was just everyone kept saying, "Oh, they banter like angels and demons," and someone said, "Do they really like each other?" Because I guess good omens they really like each other.
Mhm.
And like Asma, the demon tortures Remnal, and he thinks it's funny, but Remnal does not. So they do not really like each other. But they really are great together, and they banter really well. And if they work together, they probably could, figure it out. But no, they don't. They don't like each other.
Right. Well, it's like Crowley and Cass. Cass does not like Crowley, but Crowley likes Cass.
Yeah, Crowley is my favorite character. So.
Yeah.
I
No,
do really
well, I don't
enjoy
want to say
him.
anymore because Matt's not there yet.
I'm not there yet, but I
Oh,
have grown to I like him a lot. I love his banter. He's very
yeah. I
sarcastic.
love everything about Crowley. Like I've met him in person, and he's just as lovely in person.
Yeah,
And you
Mark
could do
Shepard's amazing.
yeah, and you could do a cameo video of him, and he says like the coolest stuff, and it's like 2 minutes long. Like you get your money's worth. Um, but yeah, I need to get his autograph. He was just in the hospital. I don't know if you guys knew
Yeah,
that.
Yeah, the
his
heart
Yeah.
had
heart
like four
attacks.
heart
Yeah,
attacks or something.
Oh, I was so worried for him, but I'm glad he's doing better. So
Yeah. And he had just posted something about how he had just recently lost a bunch of weight and was
oh, I didn't
feeling
know.
more energized than ever. But I know, I guess he just, by the time he lost the weight, the heart had already been impacted. But that's great that he's already making like healthy life choices,
yeah,
though. So,
Well, that probably actually maybe that's why he survived because he had already gotten healthier.
right.
And so his body was able to fight it more. I mean, maybe he wouldn't have made it if he didn't lose that weight.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
That's
definitely a
true.
good thing.
Or Chuck just, was pulling for him. Who knows?
Yeah, yeah. I love Chuck. I
But
mean,
yeah, no, he seems like a great person, and he's part of the Doctor Who universe and part of the Doom
Yeah,
Patrol universe, and he's in a lot of beloved
I don't know if
fandoms
you've
for
ever seen
sure.
Leverage, but Leverage is
I
one of my
haven't seen
favorite
that one.
shows. So
I haven't seen that one either. I know the main guy I know makes an appearance in season 15.
yes, they're actually friends in real life. It's Christian Kane.
Oh, cool.
And they actually all live in Texas together, so they are good friends. And they was bantering on Twitter before because Christian Kane can actually kick Jensen's ass because he does his own stunts. He's actually incredibly trained as a fighter. So he said it's not fair that I have to lose this, but I'll do it because you're a friend.
And
But
it's your show.
yeah, it's your show pretty much. But in all honesty, the main character of this book was inspired by a demonized version of his character on Leverage. Because the main character, Draven, is a demon descendant, but he's also an assassin. When they were separated for 10 years, he had like no care for anything. So he just they told him you can either stay in jail for murder or you can be trained as an assassin. And he was actually purposely tricked, to be arrested for the murder just so he could become an assassin. So everything was planned. And then Serafina for those 10 years trained as a supernatural hunter because she thought her demon brother killed her soulmate. So she was trying to get back at her demon brother to destroy him. So
Right.
yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, this is, just so much full of love and knowledge has been put into these stories.
Yeah.
It's absolutely incredible. Why don't you let people know where they can find you, your stories, and how they can specifically, I know the Kickstarter's going on right now. That's going to be in the link of this episode. So let people know where they can further follow you to keep up to date.
Yeah, so on Twitter or whatever it's called, we're at worthy_chaos. We have about 5.2 thousand followers on there, but like the same 20 people see my tweets. So Twitter does not like me.
Oh, it is. It's like echo
Probably because I
chamber for
still call it
everybody
Twitter.
these days. So
Yeah, yeah. So and I pay for that stupid blue check mark, which is gonna change because I used to get like thousands of views and now I get like 100. So I'm like, why am I paying for this?
exactly.
Um,
Yeah.
but Facebook is actually being nicer to me, which I've always hated Facebook, so now I have to apologize. But I have 5,000 followers on there. And because I've interacted with so many people, more people see me. So there's a couple of ways to find me. On Facebook, we have a business page. It's pointless. You can join it. I don't care. But it's like I'm never on it. It's like whatever. It's just there to make us look cool. But we have a Facebook group with about 700 members, and we support all creative, like indie creators. So like people can go in there and they can post their podcast links or their Kickstarter links, or for artists they can put their art in there for commissions. And then if you're in there, we show you like pages that are done or rewards that are coming, and we do lots of stuff like that. However, you can also search Corissa Grant on Facebook. I'm one of those kids that would have been kidnapped as a child because I will talk to anybody anytime. So you could just, add me on there. And the first thing you should write if you message me is this is not a scam, because I get so many of those. And then you get the hi, how are you? Where are you from? Blah, blah. Oh, and I'm this, this, and this. So it usually takes about 4 hellos till I find out that they're scammers. So just start off with the bat. I'm not a scammer, and then we'll go from there.
Like I'm a Nigerian prince.
Yeah, yeah. At least that one you kind of get a hint. Now it's like, oh, how are you doing? And where are you from? I was like, why? Which is funny because I tell everyone everything about me. So when they ask, I get suspicious, but I literally tell everyone anything. I'm from Tennessee, and yeah, you could find anything about me. But yeah, that's the best way to find me. However, we do have a website, worthychaoscomics.com. But Kickstarter is always the best way because we always have either a pre-launch or something live. We already have the pre-launch for issue 9. I just don't post about it, but technically if you search Worthy Chaos, you will see it's there while we have something live. So we're always there. So search Worthy Chaos, do yourself a favor, and do not search Redemption. There's like 700 of them. It was the worst name I could have come up with ever. But Worthy Chaos is great. Search that, and there I am. So
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. We really appreciate it. Everything that has just been talked about, the links, it's like everything is going to be the link to this the by
great.
this
Thank
episode.
you.
So everybody check it out. Please let us know as you keep rolling stuff out. Feel free to, hey, shoot it this way. We are more than happy to
Yeah.
help
Tag
on our
us. We
end
can
too.
share in
Yeah, tag
stories
us
and
and
whatnot.
share it, all that kind of stuff. We're more than happy to do that because this is right up our alley. We're both, like I said, Lauren and I are, big fans of Supernatural, and all this is kind of like ghost
I'm on my
stories,
17th
paranormal.
rewatch.
Yeah, exactly. So we are big fans of that. So Carissa, thank you so much for sharing your
Yeah,
comic and
thanks for having
everything
me
with
on. I
us.
really appreciate it. And if you're available like in October, we celebrate our 2 years in October with another hardcover. So I'd love to come on and show people
Yeah,
that
absolutely.
yeah,
Let
Spooky
us know. We
episode.
are there. We
thanks.
love doing spooky stuff, especially that time of year, right? So that'll
Yeah,
fit right in. But
perfect.
yes, everybody, make sure to check her out. Thank you guys so much. Tune it into this special creator episode. Stay tuned for next week as we are going to be going into we're probably going to be reviewing Echo, going into our comic book origin. That's our next episode. But if you want more from Carissa and Worthy Chaos Comics, go to worthychaoscomics.com, check it out, support the Kickstarter, support great creators out there, because without all these great indie creators, we don't have so many good stories that are just out there in this world right now. Make sure you're doing that. And also, as always, support your local comic book shop, folks. We'll catch you next time.
Thanks, guys.
Cheers.
Cheers.